Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we appreciate your patience this morning as there was a message that had to be put out here today, and it was something that I had to hold on to for a little while. So I appreciate you being patient here with us this morning, as the breaking news this morning is that Bob Beretta, who has long been the athletic director of the Lemoyne College Dolphins the entire time that I have worked with Lemoyne College, Bob has been the head of their athletic department, and Bob decided that he is going to be moving forward after 3+ years at Lemoyne and helping guide them from Division II to Division I. He will now be heading to his alma mater of St. Bonaventure University, where he will serve as Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. So Dave Pasiak is going to be joining us momentarily, but I do want to take a moment to share this news with you first and foremost, and to let you know, and I'll be saying things as we go here, but, Bob, to me, one of the best people that I have ever met in the business, and someone who has been a tremendous supporter, someone who has commanded me to be the best that I can be, and I would like to think vice versa. Someone who I've worked extremely close with and who taught me what it's like to be an athletic director. You know, when I started these exclusive multimedia marketing partnerships with colleges and universities and created this plan, which essentially has become a business within my business, Lemoyne was first. And what I learned from Bob and the way that Bob handles things and his leadership and his honesty and his faith and just our day-to-day, it helped me to really have a level of excellence that I want from the schools that I work with. And from Lemoyne came Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, came my alma mater of Marywood University, came Alfred University, most recently Binghamton University. And this morning is bittersweet because I'm happy for a friend, and at the same time I know what Lemoyne is losing. And I'm excited to see what happens from here with Lemoyne. Dr. Linda Lemura is a tremendous president. She is a fantastic human being. She is a wonderful woman. And her leadership, to me, is something, her and Bob coupled together, is a very strong unit. And, in my head, I didn't think that was something that I would not see together. But at the same time, when your alma mater comes calling, it's hard, right? It's hard to make that decision. And ultimately, Bob is not a knee-jerk person. So this decision has taken time. And the time that he took to take this decision and the relationship that we have for, the kind message and our back and forth that we had in this process and whatnot, it really means a lot to me that we have the relationship that we have. And I cannot be more thankful and grateful that he took the time that he took to get to know me, and that he believed in my plan and my mission and my vision. Because, that's what started it all. These exclusive multimedia marketing partnerships, it started with Lemoyne. It started with Bob. It started with his belief in what I'm doing. And so I'm very grateful, and it's hard to find the perfect words here this morning. I've worked a lot with Bob. I've spent a lot of time with him, and I know that we will continue to see what the next chapter holds for the both of us, because our friendship and our professional relationship is strong, and I can't believe that 3 years has gone by. It feels like I just sat with Bob in his office for the first time like last week. And I'm very happy for him. I'm sad for Lemoyne. I know that, again, Lemoyne has great leadership, so I know that they will find a way to move forward. And I think St. Bonaventure is getting somebody who has no duplicate. So this morning, Bob Beretta, once again, the leader of the athletic department for Lemoyne College and an integral part of getting Lemoyne from NCAA Division II to Division I, has decided to go back to his alma mater and serve as vice president and director of athletics. This comes after 3+ years at Lemoyne, and before that, over 30 years at West Point, serving in the athletic department for the Army Black Knights. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, Heritage Hill you could see out in Pompey, in the beautiful rolling hills of our amazing country up here in central and upstate New York on Sweet Road. And on Heritage Hill North, you will find them at 628 South Main Street, within the hustle and bustle, close to so many pieces of our community. So you have that city life, you have the country life, and you have the same Heritage Hill brand in both places. 628 South Main Street, North Syracuse, New York, and up in Pompey on Sweet Road. With that being said, inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com is what's poppin'. We're happy to be here with you today. I'm excited to have my guest for hour number one, Dave Pasiak. Dave is a longtime basketball coach and analyst. He has been on my show from when I returned to Syracuse, New York, which means he's been with me for, well, my company's about to turn 12 years old, and then I was here before. So over 13 years that Dave and I have spoken. He's been a great friend, tremendous person. When I talk about, how wonderful Bob has been to me and how consistent Bob has been, I put Dave right there as well, with consistency and goodness and kindness and generosity of his time and just being a good friend. So Bob, here, I want to thank Bob. I want to thank Dave. I got a lot of thankfulness here today, and I'm happy to have Dave on the show. Dave's going to join us in a second, and then in hour number two, Eric Holt is going to join me, Binghamton University alum, who was on the track team at Binghamton. He graduated in 2018, and he is working to qualify for the 2024 Olympics in Paris. The Olympic trials for him are coming up in a couple weeks here in Eugene, Oregon. He'll be running the 15 and the 800 to try and make the Olympics in track and field, and I'm excited to share that special with you in the Bearcat Breakroom. And then the ingredients to success will round out Tuesday, as it always does, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, proudly presented by Avicolli. So, without further ado, and with that being said, it is my honor, my privilege to welcome Dave Pasiak back to the show. Dave, I appreciate your patience this morning, as this was a unique morning, and happy to have you here.
Hey, good to talk to you again, Dan. Big news for you this morning out of Lemoyne. So
yeah, definitely some big news, and I mean, you've been through stuff, Dave. You've been in the business for enough years that you see, people kind of go to different places and take different jobs, and things change, and they say moments like this remind us that it's a business. How have you kind of taken the decades of knowing that, people in the sports world, there's the one thing in life and the one thing in sports, which is a part of life that's consistent, is change?
Yeah, it kind of comes with the turf in most any business or industry, and college athletics is no different. I mean, you get people that so they're doing a good job. They may get another opportunity, and they may jump at it. And people leave for a variety of reasons. I mean, when I was OCC, we had a great leader, and he passed away. In Rob Edson. So I mean, like those kinds of things happen. They just do, and in the business of college athletics, and Lemoyne's certainly not immune to that. So they seem like they have a lot of positive momentum going with the move to Division I. You just have confidence in their institutional leadership that they'll put athletic leadership in place that'll continue the momentum that they've built over the past year or so since they made the commitment to go Division I. So.
Yeah, and kind of interesting the timing of it all is that here we are on the just a little bit past the 1 year anniversary of Lemoyne making the decision to go to Division One, and a year after that, we're seeing this move happen. So that's they got 3 more years to go unless the NCAA. I mean, there's a reclassification period, and that period is 4 years, and the NCAA can, of course, make a decision to shorten the 4 year span of not being able to go into any NCAA tournaments. They can change that if they'd like to change that, and there's a hopes that they'll change that, but that change
NCAA
has not,
tournaments,
that change has not come yet. So Lemoyne is still under that, and this is difficult. This is a difficult decision, and a difficult decision for Bob, because you got your alma mater, and then you have a school that you made history with. You got a school that you're leading into a totally new era that they've never experienced before. So, this is it's it's a time that's definitely it's tough. It's tough. It's great, and at the same time it's tough. And these are the things that we deal with. And like you said, I mean, Rob Edson, one of my very good friends, like you said, change happens. And in the case of Rob Edson, he passed away. He was 44 years old, and I believe that he was going to take OCC to a place they'd never been, and take them to these new heights. And I still believe in him to this day. I know he's up in heaven, and I have all the respect in the world for him, and I miss him. I think about him, and Dave. I mean, things happen, change happens, and change is consistent, and it's how you navigate that change. And Lemoyne, going through a changing period, now has to go through that period without one of their leaders. So it's change on top of change, which is going to be interesting. But, like I said, Dr. Linda Lemura, their president, their fearless leader, she is still the captain of the ship. And I have a lot of respect for her and the board of trustees and Pete DeLaura and so on and so forth. There's a lot of good there. There's a lot of good coaches there. And, I think they just brought in a good coach. So, this is going to be interesting for sure. And, Dave, I can honestly say that God has blessed me with breaking news on my show for many, many years. And I always tell people I love being live, because you never know what's going to happen here. So, that's something to report this morning, and it's something to talk about. We are here to talk about the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals. Before we get into the NBA finals, how do you, when you look back on the NBA playoffs this year, and we look back at the bracket, for you, Dave, did this kind of go down? Because I know you said, like, when it comes to anything out there, that you believe, the NBA's figured out a really good system, and that you feel like the true champion comes through the way that this bracket is set up. Well, the Thunder made it past the Pelicans. They swept the series 4-0, the one over the 8. When we look on the Western Conference side of things, the Mavericks, that were the 5 seed, took down the Clippers 4-2. The Timberwolves swept the Suns, the 3 over the 6 seed, 4-0, and the Nuggets almost swept the Lakers, winning 4-1. And moving forward, which brought us to the Thunder and the Mavericks. The Mavs won that series 4-2, and the Wolves took down the Nuggets 4-3 in a 7-game series. And then that led us to the Mavericks and the Timberwolves, where the Mavericks almost swept the Timberwolves, winning the series 4-1. When we look at the West, did it go down the way that you thought it would go down? How do you assess what happened in the West?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, not really, because, I don't think a lot of people had Mavericks on their bingo card going to the NBA Finals. But that said, I think the West was the more, I would say maybe perhaps the deeper, but definitely the more balanced conference of the two this year. And, I think going into the playoffs, there were probably 6 or 7 teams that if the right things happened, you could say that team had a legitimate chance of getting all the way through to the final. So, in that respect, Dallas getting there is huge. And, I think Denver was really, I think, the team to beat going in. And, Minnesota was a fascinating team because I think that, really talented, maybe the most talented team in the West, top to bottom. But outside of Gobert, kind of a young and immature team. And I think you saw the best and the worst of that in the playoffs. They were able to rise to the occasion, win Game 7 in Denver. Then they turn around against Dallas and, rise to the occasion, avoid getting swept in Game 4, and then come out with just a miserable outing in Game 5, with the, the series and the season on the line. So, I think that's a team, and Oklahoma City is another team with a lot of good young talent. And I think, that was the one thing that struck me about the playoffs in general this year, is I think there's like kind of a coming out of that next group of really good players in the NBA, star players, Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony Edwards and Halliburton, guys like that really kind of burst onto the national scene. Now, in terms of the Mavericks, like Doncic, like I've always felt that the guy is one of the top, handful of guys in the NBA, and people forget he's only 25 years old. So you can put him in that, lump him in with those young stars on the rise, but he's already there. Like he's already kind of established himself as an elite player in the league. And I think getting to the finals, again, I think he's in a position now where if they close it out and he's able to win a championship, I think it takes his the perception of him and his reputation as a player to a whole different stratosphere, to where people are talking about him is he the best player in the world right now? And I think if he takes the Mavs to the championship, I think you can make a strong case for that. I think he and Irving, a couple of the analysts have said this. They say they might be the best offensive backcourt in NBA history. The two of them together have really kind of taken that team and put them on their backs. And when they both have it going, and they've learned, it's taken a little while. I mean, last year it wasn't pretty when they first paired the two of them together, but they've kind of figured it out, and it's interesting. Irving was like, the second option in Cleveland when they won the championship, and he wasn't happy with that. Wanted to be the lead dog somewhere, and he's kind of back in that 1A/2 role with the Mavericks, and seems to be right now comfortable with that and embracing that, and he's got another team on the verge of a championship. So Dallas getting there surprised me, but like I said, the West definitely had the balance and a lot of the young stars that I think are going to kind of be the face of the league over the next 8 or 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Luka and Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving together, like you said, I mean, in their last game against Minnesota where they won the series, they both had 36 points. I mean, that's just insane. Between the two of them, they accounted for 72 of the 124 team points that the Mavericks scored on the road to beat Minnesota and move forward. So, and Kyrie Irving, he's got more come back into that eye. He was almost, it felt like he was almost a forgotten guy in the NBA, and one of those guys where it's like, are we talking about we've seen his best years? Are we talking about this guy is not gonna, he's just gonna I mean, think about it. I mean, think about where he's been, the stops he's made, the stuff that's come up. Is he gonna play in this game? Is he not gonna play in this game? There's drama going on, and yada yada yada. And now we look at him and we see him and we say, wow, like this guy really found a home in Dallas, and he's found a way to win and reimagined. I don't know if reimagined is the right word, but it's like this new era of Kyrie Irving. It's kind of put him back at the forefront of the NBA. How how do you feel like he did this, Dave? I mean, when you look at this, I mean, you've coached guys forever. You know, this almost, kind of on the precipice of, people kind of looking at him going, this guy seems really dramatic. He seems like, he's just bringing an issue to it. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? He goes to this team. Did he make him better? Did he make him worse? And now we're looking at him in this happy marriage right now with Luka, and they're finding a way to get it done, and 2 point guards on the court, and having success together. How did Kyrie do this? Are you surprised that he did this? I mean, we know he's talented, but it seems like the last couple of years have been marred by his antics that people want to talk about, and now we're looking at this guy who's trying to go and win a championship and be a big part of it. What are your thoughts on the reemergence of Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, I mean, he seems like he's just a different breed of cat, and his role right now with Dallas is not all that different than his role was in Cleveland playing next to LeBron. It is very, very similar role and expectation with the team and everything. And he was, as a young player, wanted more, wanted to be the lead dog, and wanted his own team and all that. And then, when COVID hit, like he had his own response to COVID, so he couldn't play certain games because he wasn't allowed to play because of his stance on backs and everything. So that kind of derailed him a little bit, professionally. So like my gut feeling is that he's a guy now. He's later in his career and has probably and I'm not inside his head or anything, but I suspect that he's kind of as an older player and more of a veteran player now has maybe reoriented his priorities and realizes that he has a good thing now. He's in a situation where, Doncic is clearly the guy, right? So, Kyrie is, but there are games where Kyrie is the guy, where they're going to play through him based on, matchups, workload, foul trouble, injury, whatever, where they're going to play through Kyrie, but it's not on a game in and game out basis. So, perhaps Kyrie has realized that playing with a high usage guy like Luka, is probably adding a couple of years to Kyrie's career also, in that he's not being forced to shoulder that load. And whereas as a young player, he was, seemed to be a little resentful of not being in that situation. Perhaps as more of a veteran, established player, he recognizes the value in that, and he also recognizes that he's one series away from winning on the championship. So you'd hope that as he's gotten older and become more of a veteran in the league, maybe his perspective on a lot of that stuff has changed.
Yeah, here with Dave Pasiak, a longtime basketball coach and analyst. We're speaking on the NBA playoffs and the upcoming NBA Finals. So take a look at Kyrie Irving. He's been in the league for 14 years. This is his 14th season. He was with Cleveland the majority of, or more than any other team, I should say. He was with the Cleveland Cavaliers for 6 years. He was with Boston for a couple of years, and then found his way to the Brooklyn Nets for 3 seasons and some change before joining Dallas in 2022-23 after spending some time in Brooklyn, was part of that move, and this is his first full season with the Dallas Mavericks, and they're in the NBA Finals. When you look at his numbers, his points per game, 25.6, you go and you look at what he's done in his career over 14 seasons. He's scored at least 25 points. I'm looking through this right now. He's averaged at least 25 points in 7 seasons. So 50% of the time he's been in the NBA, he's averaged at least 25 points. In the last few seasons, he was 27.4 in 2019-20. And then we look at 26.9, 27.4, 27, 25.6 this season. he has his. This is the third time in 14 years that his 3-point field goal percentage is at least 41%. It's 41.1. He's done that only 2 other times in his career, 41.5 in 2014-15 with the Cavs and 41.8 in 21-22 with the Brooklyn Nets. And his field goal percentage is the third best that he's ever had in his 14-year career. He had a 50.6% field goal percentage in 2020-2021 with the Brooklyn Nets. He had a 51% last year when he came to the Mavericks, and he's at 49.7. So we look at him 14 years in to the NBA, and his numbers are still very high in the top 3. So we're looking at field goal percentage top 3, 41% 3-point shooting percentage, done it 3 times in his career. He's doing it right now. Averaging over 25 points. He's done that for 7 out of 14 years, like I mentioned. So, I mean, Kyrie with every, and then looking at his assists, he's consistently throughout his career, more often than not, had 5 to 6 assists per game. He still has 5.2 looking at this season. So, Dave, when we're looking at this, I mean, Kyrie Irving has aged like a fine wine, and we're not looking at a guy who's 14 years in the NBA and looking like he's lost some of his gas. This guy is consistently putting his numbers together, and in his 14th NBA year, he is in the top 3 category when it comes to scoring for himself. And then when it comes to, his average points per game, like I mentioned, he's been consistent in scoring at least 25 points per game for 7 out of 14 years.
Yeah, and I think part of that has to be attributed to playing next to Doncic, like having one of his best years statistically. You play next to Doncic, and Kyrie is probably not drawing the same degree of attention that he was as the lead dog, like in Brooklyn and other stages of his career. So, I think the game is probably coming easier to him this year with Luka. Yeah. And that team is built so much to play around and play through the two of them that he's not like, you're with a ball dominant guy like Luka. In some situations, like, your touches can go down significantly and your usage can go down significantly. But the way Dallas is constructed, that so much of what they do features those two guys, that Kyrie's still getting his touches, still getting his looks, and he's as efficient as he's ever been because those looks are probably easier and better than he had been getting prior to coming to Dallas and pairing up with Doncic.
Yeah, this situation for him, it might be his best he's ever had. And 14 years in, being in a situation like this where maybe he is in the best place that he's been in, that, this is huge. Again, you look at those years in Brooklyn and you look at the vaccination stuff and you look at the drama in Boston and people just, looking at him like, he's talented, but, he's a head case, he's a problem. And now we look at Dallas and he's doing his work, Luka's doing his work, the team as a whole is doing what they need to do, and Dallas is here and a couple days away. This Thursday, June 6th, we're going to see the first game of the NBA Finals, and that's going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time when Dallas goes to Boston. Let's look at the other side, Dave, as we look in the East and how the East was won, essentially. In the Eastern Conference, we have, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. I cannot thank you all enough for being a part of the show. It truly means a lot to me. And, of course, for finding us on Amazon Music as well as Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And so a lot of ways to connect with the show. It's very hard to miss us. I'm going to take a break in the action of the NBA for a second here to read a quote, and this is just happening in real time. So this is from Linda Lemura. So if you'll oblige me for a second here, Dave, from Linda Lemura, the president of Lemoyne College. She has sent over a message here that she would like to send. So from Linda Lemura, the Lemoyne president, on Bob Beretta, and this is the exact quote. So I'm going to read it to you here right now. She said, quote, "I am thrilled for St. Bonaventure University and for Bob. I understand the powerful pull to return to his alma mater. He has done a remarkable job in moving Lemoyne to Division I. St. Bonaventure is getting a seasoned leader whose focus is on student development and comprehensive excellence. We will miss Bob, but wish him only the best in his new position. Go, St. Bonaventure. Go. Is it Bonas? Is that, I never knew what Dave, the Bonas, is it Go Bonas or is it Go Bonas?
I think it's Go Bonas.
Go Bonas, because for St. Bonaventure would make sense.
Go Bon. What I've heard is Go Bonna with no S at the end, or Go Bonnies.
Yeah, the Bonnies is what I'm used to here. So I'm putting this up here right now for you all so that you have it from the president of Lemoyne College, Dr. Linda Lemura. I'm sharing this right now. The Lemoyne president on Bob Beretta heading to St. Bonaventure, heading from Lemoyne to St. Bonaventure. So I'm putting this up here right now so that you all have this on social media, so that this is the first release from Linda. I want to thank Linda for everything that she's done in entrusting this release with me. So I'm currently putting this out here so that you all have it. And again, this is in real time, and it's happening amidst this conversation that I'm having with Dave this morning about the NBA playoffs. We're also having a conversation about the fact that Bob Beretta has made the decision to return to his alma mater of St. Bonaventure University after leading the Lemoyne College Dolphins athletic department for the last 3+ years. So that quote is going up right now, and should be up right now for you all to be able to read and check out. So that quote is now there for you and available on our social media, so you can go ahead and check that out. And I appreciate everybody who has reached out to me this morning and sent over messages. If I haven't responded to your message, it is because it's because I'm on the air, and also because this is something, like I said, that's been happening in real time, and I've been trying to get everything out here as it happens. It literally was officially released at 9 a.m., and 9 a.m. is the start time of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as you know. So I'm just in the process of making sure that all of this goes out for you so that you have it, and so that you're able to read it and check it out. So that has now been sent over, and Dave and I are continuing the conversation here on the NBA playoffs here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And like I said, that quote going up from Linda Lemura, you can now read that quote, which she sent over to me just a moment ago here, and that quote is now available to you. So you can check that out at your leisure on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and we'll also add it to Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT this morning. So thank you to Linda, and just want to make sure that that's all out there for you, and you have it. So with that being said, looking at the Eastern Conference side of things in this world that we're living in, on the Eastern Conference, Boston making it through. How did that happen? We take a look back at their run. The Celtics, the number 1 seed, took down the 8-seeded Heat in a series 4-1. The Cavs, the 4 seed, took down the 5th-seeded Magic, who I don't think that you should understate their season. The Magic have been the worst team in the NBA. I have covered the Magic over a decade plus of having an eye there and being connected to them and being credentialed to opportunities with them. And when they used to hold Summer League, I was there for numerous, I think 5 years that I covered their Summer League. So taking a look at their team and what their team did this year, I really don't want to glance over the fact that the Magic not only made the playoffs, but made it in the top 5 seeds. The Cavs took them down in a 7-game series. So again, the Magic, definitely put a lot to the table here, made the Cavs work for it. And then the Bucks went up against the Pacers. The Bucks, the 3 seed, the Pacers, the 6 seed, and the Pacers won that one 4-2. And then the Knicks over Dave's 76ers, the 2 over the 7 seed, 4-2, which led us to the Celtics, Cavs, and the Pacers, Knicks. Celtics took down the Cavs 4-1. The Pacers took down the Knicks 4-3 in a 7-game series. So the Pacers defeated the 3 seed and the 2 seed and went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they were swept by Boston 4-0, which put the Celtics in the NBA Finals. Dave, taking a look at the East, what are your thoughts on, first and foremost, I'd love to get your breakdown overall, but I'd love to spend some time with the Magic and how you think they've come up, because it's been a long time rebuilding since really Dwight Howard decided to leave. And then the Indiana Pacers, who took down the 2 and the 3 seed en route to trying to make it to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I think, we talked about it a little bit in the West. Same thing in the East. You see like Banchero with the Magic and Halliburton with the Pacers. I think there are 2 more of those like stars on the rise who've kind of made their mark in this year's playoffs and made people take notice. And I think proof that the game is in a really good spot. And I think for Orlando, it's disappointing, I'm sure, to lose Game 7 and get beat in the first round by Cleveland, but I think that their season, no question, huge success. They kind of elevate themselves back up, into the playoffs picture and avoid the play-in. I think that's a team. Orlando, Indiana. I think those are teams that are positioned to be in the mix for the next several years. If they continue to add parts, continue to incrementally improve, I think those are teams that we're going to be talking about. That said, it can turn quickly in the NBA, right? When Oklahoma City had Harden and Westbrook and Durant all together, people thought they were going to be in the championship mix for a decade, and that all came apart. So, but Orlando seems to have a really good young core. Same with Indiana, and I think those are going to be teams that we're going to be talking about for quite a while.
Yeah, and like you said, Dave, these young, talented teams finding their way and finding their footing, and this has really been, it's been an interesting NBA playoffs. I think seeing the Indianas of the world make it forward, seeing the Orlando Magic, it's kind of it reminds me of my childhood when Indiana was good, and when the Knicks were good, and when these teams were out here vying for opportunities at championships. It's been a long time, and to see this happening this season, to see the Magic, to see the uptick of the Knicks, and I think and of course New York fans were let down, and they were upset with the fact that we didn't see the Knicks move forward. There was a lot of hope this season that they were going to have the opportunity to do that, and it didn't end up shaking out that way. And I know that New York is a tough place, right? It's a tough place to be a team, because that you're going to have a lot of pressure. And I think that the Knicks, when they don't make it to or win a championship, there's definitely pressure that comes with that. That expectation that you have when you're a New York based team. Yet, where do you think the Knicks are at? Do you think that this is, are we seeing a Knicks team that can be consistent now? Are we seeing a Knicks team that you believe can really make some hay and do some things here? A team that we're gonna see in the postseason? Do you believe in this? I mean, what's your feeling on the New York Knicks as we step forward?
Well, I mean, Brunson's another guy who kind of emerged, this year and in this postseason and everything. The Knicks were pretty banged up at the end, so I think they have some organizational decisions. Randall, what are they going to do with him? They have some organizational decisions about, do they want to kind of keep the makeup of the team where it is and basically run it back with the same guys healthy?
Yeah.
Or which I don't think is enough to get them to the next level. But do they do that, or do they try to make a splash, make a big move? You always hear there was something floated out there about the Knicks trying to make a play for LeBron James and take LeBron and Bronny, and the Knicks are always talked about as a free agent destination, but if you look back in recent history, that really hasn't borne much fruit for them. You always hear like the superstar free agent, New York's going to be on the short list, but nobody's going to the Knicks. And the other problem they have there, I don't know if Thibodeau is the guy to get them to the next level, based on his track record. If you believe the players survey, he's the least, he's the guy NBA players least want to play for. So is that a detriment to bringing in a high caliber free agent or pulling the trigger on a big deal? And, is he the guy that can get them to the next step, or is he a guy, like Mark Jackson was in Golden State, where he can take the team to a certain level, and then you need a different voice to kind of get them over the top and contending for championships. So, I think the Knicks and Knicks fans have a lot to feel good about this year. But I think they're going to be an interesting team to watch this offseason. To see, are they going to run it back, or are they going to make some moves to try to incrementally improve the team and take that next step?
Yeah, and I mean, you look at what the Knicks did so many years ago to get Carmelo Anthony, right? They gave up everything, and it didn't work. I mean, they got Carmelo and gave up so many pieces so that they could put themselves in a place to try to win with him, and it didn't happen. It didn't come to fruition, and it's unfortunate that happened the way that it happened. But Carmelo goes to the team, and people are really excited, and you sell tickets, and he's back in the state of New York, and yada yada yada. But ultimately, it didn't work out, and then the Knicks were trying to build and trying to put pieces together, but it seemed like they didn't have that star power, and they didn't have that guy that they could essentially lean on, and now they have an opportunity to see if this can if this could be their future. Is Jalen Brunson is this a guy that you can hang the hat of the franchise on? Is this the guy that you lean on? You had Patrick Ewing, you had Carmelo Anthony, now you have Jalen Brunson. I mean, can he be the face of New York City? Can he be the face of the Garden? Can he be the face of the Knicks? Dave, do you believe in Brunson as we go forward? I know you just said some things about him, but can he be the face of the Knicks?
I think that's an open question.
Okay.
I mean, he certainly took a huge step forward this year, and talented guy. Really had his best season as a pro and put the Knicks on his back at times. It's going to be very interesting to see if that's a high watermark for him, or if he can continue to enhance his game and enhance the Knicks and really establish himself as one of the elite guys in the NBA.
Yeah.
So, is he going to be, the face of the franchise, or is it like flash in the pan insanity when Jeremy Lin took over New York for about 3 months? So I think, or is it somewhere in between? Which probably it is, somewhere in between. I think the Knicks need to improve incrementally to kind of get in that next tier of teams. I think right now they've kind of reached very good, but I don't think they have everything necessary to compete with the Bostons of the world. The Knicks had injuries in the postseason, but they were fortunate to catch Philly at less than 100% too. So,
yeah.
And Thibodeau, like I said, like he tends to really push the team hard in the regular season. Historically, he's pushed his teams hard in the regular season, and then sometimes have very little left in the tank when playoffs roll around. So I think that whole dynamic in New York is going to be really, really interesting to follow in the off season and follow into next season to see if the Knicks can continue to make forward progress, or if they backslide a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see, these teams that, like I was talking about, who are not used to seeing make it as far as they did. Can they do it again? Can the Timberwolves make another run? The Phoenix Suns have been a feel-good story of the last couple of years, really since the COVID time, have been a team with some firepower. And now the question becomes, what does Phoenix look like in the future? We see the Nuggets and what the Nuggets can do, and did they repeat? No. They got handled in a 7-game series by the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Celtics. This is an exciting team. And when we look at Boston, we talked about Dallas. When we look at Boston, Dave, how do you see the Celtics team? The Celtics have won so many championships. It's insane. And their championship rings are, it's uncanny. And when you think about them, you kind of think about like the New York Yankee type of feel of this. They're going for their 18th ring, I believe, their 18th NBA title. And there's some teams that have never won one. We talk about Minnesota being, one of those teams that was trying to make it there and they've never won a championship. The Boston Celtics going for their 18th ring. And one of the guys that I circle is Jason Tatum. And that's because I spent time covering him at Duke. He was a 3rd overall pick in 2017 in the first round of the NBA draft. And I've been a fan of Jason Tatum. I've always wanted to see him do well since I got to spend some time being around him. When we look at the Boston Celtics now, and we look at a quest for ring number 18, what are your thoughts on this iteration of the Boston Celtics?
Well, I think this iteration, I think the franchise has the history and the championships and everything, but I think this iteration, if you separate them from that and just look at them as a championship contending team, they're like kind of the classic, one of the beauties in the NBA has always been like the struggle, and the team that had to struggle and climb the next ladder. And, you go back to, the Bird and Magic days, and then Michael Jordan had to get past the Pistons and then establish himself, and then so there was always like the struggle and the team having to climb the next rung. And Boston, this Celtic team kind of exemplifies that. It was a little bit of a throwback to much of NBA history where teams didn't come out of nowhere and win championships. They had to kind of endure the struggle. And this Celtic group, with Tatum and Brown, some of the parts, they exemplify that. But, looking at this year, I mean, they've been the best team in the NBA. Saw a great stat. The NBA has been keeping play-by-play stats for 28 years, right? So in 28 years, this Celtic team, they're the first team that's been statistically the best team in the regular season, the best team in each round of the playoffs. So no team has done that, in terms of point differential per 100. They've clearly been the best team in the league, start to finish. The first half of the season, it looked like the East was going to be a three-way race between Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly. And, Milwaukee and Philly got derailed with injuries, and Milwaukee made the coaching change. It didn't really bear the fruit that they thought it would. And, the Celtics ended up running away with the conference. And, they've been, in some sense, historically good when you look at those numbers. No team, not the, none of the dominant teams, not the dominant Golden State Warriors or any other team in recent vintage in the last 30 years has done what Boston has done this year. So I think they're, and especially if, the word on the street is Porzingis is close to returning, if they have him out there, I think they're the very, very heavy favorite in the finals. Dallas has got the best player in Luka, but, Boston, I think, has the deeper and more talented roster. So I think if they do come up short, you're going to start seeing Mazzulla get a lot of heat in Boston. I think he took some heat last year, and I think that's going to get turned up, several hundred degrees if the Celtics come up short this year, because I think everything is kind of laid out there for them.
Yeah. And so as we head toward the NBA Finals, and for those of you that are here for the Eric Holt conversation that comes in this Binghamton break room during Bearcat time, that'll be coming up momentarily. But Dave, before I let you go here, to prognosticate a little bit here on the NBA Finals, you just called Boston the best team this year in the NBA, and they've made it to the last round here. And on the other side, the Dallas Mavericks, who you said people didn't necessarily have on their bingo card. What are your thoughts? Are you leaning to Boston, or do you think that Dallas has enough firepower? Who do you see winning this, and how many games do you think this will go?
Well, my heart is with Dallas. I would really love to see Dallas, Luka win that championship and kind of get his just due as one of the best, if not the best players in the world in the present moment. So my heart is with Dallas, but my head, and if I'm picking the series, I'm picking Boston. I think they're, if you look at it from the perspective of Irving and Doncic and Tatum and Brown, and if those four kind of cancel each other out, I think Boston has by far the more talented and deeper roster. So, I think Celtics win it, 5, maybe 6 games. I think Dallas, I don't think it's going to be a 4-game sweep. Boston they've laid an egg in one game each of the first 2 rounds. And then, Indiana was right there and could have won 3 of the 4 games, in the last round. I think the difference was Boston's experience and ability to close out games versus the Pacers' inexperience in the same situation. So, I think Dallas will win a game or 2. Hopefully we get a more competitive series than either of the conference finals were. But in the end of the day, I think Boston's the better team, and I would look for them to win the championship. And I think it'd be a pretty significant upset if Dallas were able to win it, but it certainly would add to the legend of Luka. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens here. And I would say it would make perfect sense to pick Boston. I would love to see Dallas do it, though. I mean, I remember growing up with Jason Kidd and the Mavericks and their quest to try and win an NBA championship, and what that team looked like and the excitement that was there, and just, what Kidd brought to the game back in the day. So, for Luka, for Kyrie, I think that's a really feel-good story for the Boston Celtics, to try and establish dominance. And you look throughout periods of history, and you look back to when it was, Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and what they did. I was living down in Florida at that time, and I remember those moments. And now you look at, here they are again. And Boston just seems to be that team that never quite goes away, right? The Lakers find a way to come back. The Celtics find a way to come back. And historically, those are the franchises that you really think about, because in their different iterations, they just find a way. And we'll see what happens this time around. I'm excited for it. It starts on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you'll see that on ABC, the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. Who will win the NBA Finals? And I'm going to put up a poll on our former Twitter here, X, @CallDT, CALLDT, and let y'all vote in it. Give you a couple days to pick who you think's going to win, and we'll see what happens. Dave, as always, it is my pleasure. Thank you today for ad-libbing with me as we had breaking news amidst our conversation as well, and I just, send you all the best as always, and thank you in the ever-changing world of sports that you've always been consistent. So that's something that I appreciate very much, and I always look forward to talking with you.
Yeah, I always look forward to talking to you as well, Dan, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Yeah, we'll talk very soon, Dave. Thank you. Take care. That coming from Dave Pasiak here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Eric Holt the special with Eric as he gets set for the Olympic trials will be happening here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora exclusively. Eric Holt, Binghamton University 2018 grad and an alum of the Binghamton University Bearcats track and field program, is looking to Eugene, Oregon in just a few weeks, where he will be in the Olympic trials to try and make the 2024 Paris Olympics. And his story is up next inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And as you know, on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we call it Bearcat Time. In our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats, we feature their stories from student athletes, coaches, and alumni, as well as our monthly special with Gene Marshall, the athletics director, right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Heritage Hill coming to you in Pompey on Sweet Road in the rolling hills of central and upstate New York. And inside of the hustle and bustle, you will find the newest location that is strategically placed, so easy to get to from so many different areas of central and upstate New York, and that is on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse for Heritage Hill North. My guest picture-in-picture here with me today in the Bearcat Breakroom is Eric Holt. Eric Holt joins me as a Binghamton 2018 track and field alum who is currently competing for the U.S. Olympic trials. Eric, how are we doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I'm always excited to help represent Binghamton athletics and showcase what some of the alumni can do.
Yeah, and for you to have this opportunity to be in the Olympic trials, you and I were talking about this off the air of what's coming up, and very excited to give people some background here. You're going to be running in the 15 and in the 800, and so as we look at these different events coming up here, the 15 taking the top 12 runners in that final round, and if you make it in the top 3 of that final round after advancing through multiple rounds here, we'll see you in the Olympics, and then running in the 800 with 8 runners in the finals. If you make the top 3, you'll make it to the Olympics. We're looking at multiple races per event, so multiple races which turn out to be those rounds in the 15 and in the 800. So you make it past the first one, go on to the next and on to the next. And if you get in the finals, get in the top 3, you will qualify for the Olympics with 2 different opportunities when it comes to the 15 and it comes to the 800. Break it down even more for us and let us know what's going on within these, because the 15 and the 800 for you, knowing that it's not just about you go out there and you run it once and you're in. You got to go out there and showcase yourself in multiple rounds to get to the end. And even if you get to the end, you still have to be at the top of the heap at the end of all of this. So there's a lot of work that goes into this Olympic trial for you.
Oh, absolutely. No, you couldn't have said it any better. That is 100% correct. I mean, recently my team and I were in Flagstaff, Arizona, which is 7,000 feet altitude. And we had basically a hell week where we'd run a lot of mileage and just run unbelievably hard workouts at altitude, which makes you even more tired. And on top of that, we've been doing a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of speed work, just really, pushing the mental and physical boundaries. So we would be prepared for, the Olympic trials. It's not easy because what a lot of people don't realize is every round, you have, 30, 50,000 spectators in Eugene, Oregon. And every round is like an insane amount of adrenaline. And the way they do it is you have less than 24 hours between the first and second round of the 15. And then you get a day break, then finals. And then you're going to have 2 days off. And then again, first round of the 800, less than 24 hours. Second round, day off. And then finals of the 800. So we're going to be there for like 2 weeks. And I mean, the amount of stress and anxiety you're under is ridiculous. And the second one race is over, the anxiety creeps up again. And so for me, it's like I have to bring Normatex, which are these boots that squeezes your legs, help circulate your blood. We take ice baths after every single race. I take caffeine pills just to get a little more alert. I take beet juice. I take, like baking soda. It's like I have basically my whole routine that I have to do, and I have to do it before every round. I have to manage your sleep, and the hardest part about trials is honestly it's just as hard mentally as it is physically. It's a lot of anxiety. We've been working this whole year just for this moment, and I come from a club called Empire Elite. We're completely unsponsored. We're hoping to get a sponsorship. I'm currently unsponsored as well, meaning I'm not making any money, and I'm hoping to get a big Nike sponsorship. But in order for me to get that, I have to do well at the trials. So it's a lot of pressure, but it's what I live for. It's exciting, it's fun, but it's also an emotional roller coaster. It's going to be nuts. Like my girlfriend's going to be there, my parents, my coach, my weightlifting coach, my best friend. I mean, literally, I'm gonna have like everyone that I love and know be there, and it's going to be an intense 2 weeks. Probably the most stress I'll be under my life. So I mean, I love it. That's what I do, and your goal is no matter what round you are, just get on to the next one. Don't think about everything ahead of you. And if I make the finals, I'm just going to try my best to, do my best and make the team and run a smart race, not get swallowed by the packs. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I don't like to think about it too much, but it'll be one hell of a ride. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, you said so many different things there, and a lot of things that I want to unpack. But you said you talked about the fact that you have a girlfriend, okay? And I want to get into how, when you're preparing for all this stuff, when you have the regimen of what you need to eat and how you need to work out and all this stuff, how do you balance that? I always find that interesting, and it's something in the background that we don't talk about a lot when it comes to the sports world, be it a broadcaster, be it an athlete or a coach. How do you balance relationship? How kind is she? How patient is she? I mean, how does this all work out that you have this support, knowing how many things that you have to do and how you have to do it and what you have to do and the time that puts in and the hours that you put in? I'm speaking. I'm living vicariously through you because I understand this sports world, so I want to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, what's crazy is I met her a little over a year ago, and we've been dating for over a year now, and she didn't know anything about running or anything, and it can be tough because, like I said, I'll go to altitude training for 5 weeks, and she has a job in New York City. She has a high stressful job as well. So it's like sometimes she gets mad because she feels like I don't give her enough attention, and it can be tough. I mean, it's a balancing act because I'm 100% in the sport all the way.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't talk to your friends as much. You don't talk to your girlfriend as much, and so it can just you have to make sure not your whole life is in running. You have to make sure you're communicating, and what definitely helps is bringing her around workouts. She came up to altitude and she tries running every day. Maybe it's not as much as me, and she just sees what I go through. So you have to just be open and honest, and it's tough because it's sometimes you forget that you have to try your best to talk to people. I'm I have to prioritize sleep and everything, so sometimes I can barely see these people, and it's the good news is she's very supportive. She's very nice. She understands what I'm trying to do. She wants me to make the Olympics, get a contract. So luckily she's an amazing person, and we found a balance, and it's an emotional roller coaster. I mean, it's just it's you just have to try your best to do all the little things to make things work. But I mean, she's great. She's very supportive. It's just kind of funny because she was not at all an athlete, and I mean, she now understands track because of me.
Yeah, and I appreciate that background and that look behind the scenes of this. You said your best friend's going to be there, your parents are going to be there, your trainer's going to be there, your girlfriend's going to be there out in Eugene, Oregon. To have all of that support and to know that it's there, right? You know it's there, but to have them physically be there in Oregon for you at this event, just what that does for you and what that means to you to have your circle, to have your support system, because I think a lot of us, want to pretend like we could do it on our own, but we all have a group of people, however small that is, and I think when you get the right people, you realize that it is tiny. There's like a circle within the circle within the circle, but when you know that they're going to be out there for you, supporting you, and just what that means to you of this journey, because I'm talking to Eric Holt, but you know that this isn't just you, that there's a team behind you that loves you dearly and is willing to drop whatever's going on in their life to see you qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy because I think what a lot of people don't realize is to be really good, especially in athletics, especially in a sport like track and field. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I remember, for instance, like I never got a massage until probably like a couple of years ago, and now I have my own massage therapist. And because we're unsponsored and I'm unsponsored and I don't have an insane amount of money, her name's Julie. She like is the greatest person. She's willing to give me free body work just so I can run at my very best. There's a nutritionist that works with the team. It's like almost all like charity.
Yeah.
I have all these people working for me. I have the best weightlifting coach. His name's Dylan Brickner. And I mean, I didn't have that much foot speed. I wasn't that developed. And even in my later 20s, we worked together on pushing my muscles and getting me faster than ever before, getting me more developed. It's just like I have all these people for every little tiny thing in my life just to get me to be the best I can be. I try my best to eat the best. I try to lift the best. I try to do the most amount of aerobic work. I try to work on my form. And I have like people that care and support me, and it's a whole team, and they're all going to be at Eugene on my side. And I'm so privileged and thankful to have these people in my life. And, I have a girlfriend that's always busy, and she's willing to do what she can to help support me and, hopefully, see me in Paris. And that is the ultimate goal. And, I've always told anyone, you can't be this good by yourself. You need a whole team and support system, and more importantly, you need people to have belief in you. For a good part of my career, I didn't have that self-belief, but when a lot of people keep on telling you you can be an Olympian, you can run these times, it gets a lot easier to perform better.
Yeah, and I love hearing this, and Wake Up Call is all about where sports meets life, and we're talking about exactly that here this morning with Eric Holt. And you said you're looking to be sponsored. I'm an idea man. I thrive on creativity. I feel like as I'm saying this, I sound like Owen Wilson in Wedding Crashers, where he's like, I'm an idea guy. I thrive on ideas. I need your positivity, but I am. I'm an idea man. I thrive on creativity. When I create something, I create something after I do it, then I create something after that, and I want to keep going because I just love creating things. So you were talking about getting sponsored, and I run my own business as a multimedia marketing company here, and I love creating opportunities for people. So I think we need to use your last name here and the fact that you're a runner, and I think that we need to get something around you and the branding around you and have it called Holt and Catch Fire, and just have like a shoe with like fire coming off of it. And why don't we start branding you as Holt and Catch Fire and utilize your speed to our advantage?
Well, I have Holt the Bolt. That's my
Okay.
catchphrase. That's all my social media handles. I have the Lightning Bolt, Holt the Bolt. It's funny, I got that nickname back in 8th grade by this kid named Gary Barnes, and that's always been my catchphrase, unfortunately. But maybe one day we can switch it up. But I've had some interest in some shoe companies. It's just for me, I think it's the type of thing they're looking for that magical performance.
Yeah.
I do got a big race before trials this Sunday called the New York Grand Prix, where I'm going against the 22 world champion Jake Whiteman, and going against one of the best U.S. runners, Hobbs Kessler, among other amazing runners. So, for me, I think, if I have that one unbelievable performance, even though I felt like I've had many, and I run to my potential, I definitely feel like I can get a sponsorship, especially if I make the Olympics. So, that's what we're hoping for. And, I do agree. I got to always put myself out there on social media. But maybe Holt and catch fire. We'll see.
So for you, Eric, as you look back on your time at Binghamton, what about being a part of that world at Binghamton University, of being there for track and field, how did that bring us to who you are today? We look at you being a 2018 alum. As a student athlete at Binghamton, what positives did you take away that you have in your toolbox that you can use at these Olympic trials?
Binghamton, I always felt like, it was a bunch of underdogs. I've never been part of a team in which, let's say had the most, unbelievable talent, had was noted as the brand names.
Yeah.
I felt like I was always part of a team that had a chip on his shoulder. We're kind of, blue collar, to put it lightly. We're always the ones that, I tell people all the time. I went to Binghamton, and most people have never heard of it. And it's so I'm always been part of that type of guys. But Binghamton, but people forget we got Emily Mackay, we got Dan Schaefer, we had Jesse Garn, Eric Van Eden. We might have been an unknown school, an unknown athletic program, but we've had unbelievable talent in the past, and I feel like we'll continue to have decent talent. Binghamton's is one of those areas. It's a lot of people don't know about it. It's pretty small, but I definitely feel like Binghamton helped me give me that blue collar grit, gave me that work ethic. Binghamton was definitely a tough time, in terms of academically, everything, but it's definitely made me mentally stronger and more appreciative of things. I know a lot of runners from some Power 5 schools, and I remember they would tell me stuff like they would get a massage every single day, they would get gourmet food for free, they would get unlimited gear. And then they struggle post collegiately. They're like, oh man, like this is crazy. I have to register for massages. Like they don't just give me unlimited massages. And as someone that never had any of that in college, it's like, oh wow, like I can prosper, in any environment. I never was from like that brand name school, but Binghamton was one of those programs that has such a loyal fan base. I have some of the best connections in my life. And, it was the type of program that if you just get a little bit of work ethic, and you don't need all the gasmets and gizmos, and you work really hard, you can be one of the best runners in the nation. And I feel like that's the type of program that we've had that type of success.
Yeah, and you talk about, like you said, you feel like being in that environment, you can be successful anywhere, right? That grit, that blue collar, that chip on your shoulder. If somebody was thinking about going to Binghamton and they came up to you and they said, Eric, you've been there, you're a student athlete there, I'm looking at track and field, I'm looking at, being a Bearcat. What would you say?
I would say, it's Binghamton. It's a good program. It's very affordable, very good education, and I think it has a history of having good runners on the program. I mean, it's definitely a good deal. The winters are going to be brutal, but it'll make you a tough runner for sure.
Eric Holt here with
And
us. And, oh, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Bearcat Breakroom here with Eric Holt inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here in the Heritage Health Studios. Eric, as you get prepped for this and we talk about the rounds you have to get through, and you spoke about your regimen and what you have to eat and whatnot, when we look at the 15 and we look at the 800, do you train your body the same? Do you say, okay, these are two different events, but there's all these parallels? Because what I'm really looking at here is when people see runners, right? They think, okay, you just run. They just say go and you run, and they think it's that easy. It's just, oh, we told them to run, and then they stop when they're done. But there's so much more that goes into it. So when we're talking about a 15 and we're talking about the 800, when we're looking at both of these events, what does your body have to do for both of these? Are there parallels that you say, like, yes, my eating regimen for both of these has to be the same, and I have to do this and that? But like physically, are there changes? Are there adjustments? Are there little nuances? And that's what I'm really getting at what are those little tiny things that the 15 and the 800 pose that you're preparing yourself for, saying, like, I have to make sure that I do these things that maybe nobody sees?
Yeah, I would say the only slight difference I would say is, it takes me a little over an hour to get ready for each race.
Yeah.
Meaning by the time I start warming up, the race will be a little over an hour out. For me, especially in like an 800, what a lot of people don't realize about running is essentially, again, I'm not running for a long time. Like, for instance, in 15, I'm running for 3 minutes and 30 something seconds, which is, very quickly. So the way you got to think about it is, imagine using all your energy, all your muscle fibers in a matter of minutes. Meaning that in order for you to get ready, especially someone like me, I have to warm up the aerobic system. So you run like 3 miles very easy. And what they'll do is you get the heart pumping, you get the body warmed up, then you got to do all your rope stretches, which I get a rope, put it around my foot, and just like move it around. Or I'll see a trainer and have her stretch me out. And then I got to do all my drills, just warm up my form. And then believe it or not, I'll do some short sprints just to make sure my body's ready to go. And then what I also do is, especially for an 800, I take caffeine pills, because you just want your body tweaking a little bit. You got to be ready to go, and once you're ready to go, you got, like, especially in 800, you got to get out hard. If you get out easy, all these guys are going to fly by you, and the chances of you getting in the next round are virtually zero. So I would say in the 15, it's a little easier because you don't have to get out as hard.
Okay.
But, like, especially for a 15, it's more about just being relaxed. It's a lot more aerobic, meaning you're going to hurt, your lungs are going to be burning a little bit, and you're going to have to finish really hard. Both races, you got to finish as hard as you can. And so your mind and body's got to be ready to go. There's no warming up. Like in a lot of sports, you can kind of warm up in the beginning of the match. Running, you better be ready to go by the time the guns goes off. Otherwise, you're not doing well. You're going to have a bad race.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell everyone, that's why it's the warm up and getting ready for the race, making sure your mind's right, because your mind better be right. Because in these types of races, these are good runners. You need to be up near the front of the pack. You need to be on the rail. You don't want to be running extra distance. And you got to be world-class runners. So, I mean, everything's got to be right. Your breathing's got to be right. Your muscles better be right. Because if your muscles aren't right, you're not going to be performing 100%. what a lot of people don't realize is every race you need to be 100%. In order to be 100%, you got to have massages, got to be stretched out. Your aerobic system's got to be firing. Your anaerobic system's got to be firing. And, people don't want to hear excuses. When they see you run, they want to see the best version of you. And for you to make the Olympics, you got to be at your very best. Like, if you're having this slight off day, no shot at making the Olympics. And especially because there's so many races, you got to ice bath, you got to, be in the Normatex, you got to get your massages, you got to make sure you take all your, supplements, right? Your beet juice, everything. So your body is firing 100%. But the biggest difference, like I said, is just the intensity. You want to have a little more caffeine for the 800 because you need to be a little more uppity, just because you got to get out hard, and the whole race, you're basically sprinting. There's not much thinking. But in both races, you got to be relaxed. The first, the whole entire race until the final straightaway. Your face has got to be relaxed. Your breathing's got to be relaxed. And more importantly, you need to be near the front of that pack. And then when you get in that final 80 meters, you got to give it 110%. And a lot of problem that some runners have is they hesitate. You got to be really quick think. You can't think about making moves. The second you see it open up, you just got to make it. And this sport is brutal because the difference between basketball, it's, you got 4 quarters, or baseball, you got many times at bat. In track, you got one opportunity. When you mess up, it's over. If you fail in the first round, there's no second or third round, and the Olympics only comes 4 times a year. And it's so important and crucial, especially for someone like me, unsponsored. I got to perform. We spend all this money and time and energy. So the pressure is immense. And it's really important to make sure you're not stressed, you relax. Even if you're too stressed for a race, your heart rate might be up. That might tire you out. So there's a lot of things that go into it. But at the end of the day, you just got to do what your coach says, prepare as well as you got, and make sure that the end product in your race is the best product you produce. And I feel like if I do everything right, I have a very good shot of making an Olympic team. But like I said, the biggest difference between a 15 and 8 is just a bit more intense in the 8. And then you want to be ready to relax and handle the aerobic pace of a 15. Because like I said, an 800 is more about sprinting, and it's not as much of an endurance event as the 15. So but other than that, it's more or less the same warm-up.
Yeah, you just talked about so many things, but they can all link to life in general, right? Mental toughness, getting rid of your anxiety, being able to monitor your stress levels and your anxiety levels and know how to bring it down, know the self-talk that you need, know the, eating right, taking care of yourself, getting rest, calming yourself down, staying focused, not thinking, overthinking, but just, doing what you feel is right in the moment. All of that stuff is life related. How do you do this? How do you, as Eric Holt, how do you bring it all together? Because everything you just said to do, there's people watching right now, they're like, they feel like they just ran. They're stressed out. They're like, oh, I got to do all that stuff. But how did you figure out a way to be mentally strong, mentally focused, emotionally okay, physically there, calm, no anxiety, heart rate good? This is not something that happens overnight. So what's the Eric Holt plan of getting all of these chips to fall strategically so that you can be at your best?
Well, I tell myself, since I was a kid, if you could do anything in life, what would it be? And I've always said I wanted to be a professional athlete. I see these pros with big Nike deals, and I get incredibly envious, especially since a lot of them, well, not all of them, but some are slower, have slower PRs than me. I feel like a little less accomplished. And I feel like because of my age, I do get a little bit look past. People think I passed my prime. But I mean, for me, I'm like, all I want right now in my life is to get a pro contract. And I told myself, I'm like, you know what? I believe I will get it, but I gotta be a pro myself. And, I want to show these shoe companies that I'm just as mentally tough as any of these other runners. And I'm confident enough that I will eventually prove myself to be so good that they'll be crazy not to give me a shoe contract. And that's what I tell myself every single day. I'm like, listen, you want this shoe contract? This is what you want in your life? This is what you've been sacrificing all this for? Then let's prove to these guys that you are a pro. And if I'm a pro, I got to be mentally strong. I got to put in the work. I got to do whatever it does. Like sometimes, like even before a race, I'm like, I need a massage. Like I don't even care. I'll just go to a massage parlor. I'll get the massage. I might not have much money in my bank account, but I just do it. I got to get the best shoes. I still have to pay for my shoes. It's ridiculous. I mean, all these pros, they get too many shoes. I'll just go online and I'll pay the $200 and something for the shoes. I just do whatever it takes. And to me, that just goes into my mental toughness because it's like, this is my moment. This is what I want in my life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, I'm anxious, nervous, but this is what I want in my life. I'm happy with this. This is what I want. I worked in, I worked as a busboy for over a year at a restaurant. I worked in a mental psych ward facility as a mental health worker for over 4 years. And, it was a good job, but like I've had incidences where patients have kicked me, punched me. It's been unbelievably stressful. I did not like it. And I get chewed out by my boss. I'm not saying like it's bad to work a job like that, but I'm like, man, if I could do anything in my life, I would kill to be like have a Nike contract and be a professional runner and get to travel the world. That's all I want in my life. And so I think about that desire. And I say, you know what? Instead of me saying, oh, poor Eric, what about I go prove to these guys how good I am? I'll prove to them that they're crazy not to give me a contract. And that thought process is what I think every single day. And thankfully, I have a coach that thinks the same thing as I do. I have my best friend that thinks the same thing as I do. I have a girlfriend that thinks the same thing as I do. I have parents that think the same thing as I do. And so then I get people that are willing to help me out, go beyond what they should be doing. Like I am so privileged that I have all these people working for me and essentially losing money, if anything. Like my coach, he's losing money right now. But we're all banking on the fact that our club gets sponsored or, at the very least, we get individual sponsorships like for someone like me. And that's why I'm very loyal to Empire Elite. And that's the kind of the mantra I go by, And so we'll see. I'm very confident, though, that big things will happen in the next couple of weeks. And, I mean, that's at the end of the day, desire is what makes you tough. Like if you get nervous and stuff and you think to yourself, this is what I want, I accept that I'm nervous, I accept this is a lot of stress, but I want this. Yeah. Then, suddenly you're at the trials, you're a little less nervous. You're like, I got this. I am good enough. So I think to me, like, I want to inspire other people because I used to, like, be kind of insecure. I used to think that I wasn't talented. I used to think that in any reality I would never be in this position. I never made NCAAs at Binghamton. I was good, but I wasn't great, to be honest. No pro runners, no pro groups would even consider having me walk on. But, I've been working really hard. I've been doing everything I can to, show people that I actually am good enough. So I'm very excited for this next couple weeks, and, we'll see.
Yeah, take a look at it. June 21st, to the 30th, the Olympic team trials happening in Eugene, Oregon, and Binghamton University Bearcat alum Eric Holt will be out there in Eugene, Oregon for the opportunity to represent the United States in Paris here in 2024. You get the last word, Eric. What do you want to say?
No, thank you so much. Go Binghamton Bearcats. And, for anyone watching, just go after your dreams, work hard, and make sure you have a group around you that supports you, and anything's possible.
Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave, is your one-stop sports card and hobby card collecting shop. They are so wonderful there. And it comes down to their service. It comes down to their just overall treatment of people. They have great product. They have your hockey cards, your basketball, your baseball, your football, your soccer, your all sport, your AEW, your UFC, as well as your Disney, Lorcana, and Pokemon while supplies last. But it's beyond that for me. It's about going to a place where I feel like that 9-year-old kid who's walking in and looking for their favorite team and their favorite player. And that's the beauty of GG Cards and Breaks, is they go the extra mile. They have every NBA team, every MLB team, every NFL team right there. And each of them has their own box. So you can go there. For me, as a Raptor fan, as a Raptor, Jaguar, Diamondback fan, right? I got a team in Toronto, I got a team in Jacksonville, I got a team in Arizona, and I can go to Central New York to GG Cards and Breaks and find cards from all of those teams. And it's personal. It feels like when you walk in there, it's personal. They remember you. They remember the teams that you like, the players that you like. They get excited when you get something that you wanted, when you open up a box or a pack and you show them. If you do it there, if you bring it back, or if a card comes in, they're excited to tell you about it. They love the hobby. And that love comes through, that passion comes through. And when people love what they do, it just really shines. And GG Cards and Breaks, it makes sense why their logo's in gold, because they shine all the time. GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Make sure that you go out and see them 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, it is time to get into the final piece of our Tuesday broadcast, which is the Ingredients to Success. The Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by the wonderful, wonderful team at Avicolli's. Avicolli's located for you on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road. You'll find them there, and they are incredible. Avicolli's food is so good, and their service is great. They've been in our community for so many years, for many decades, and I can't thank them enough for the work that they do. You know, the food there is wonderful. The experience there is wonderful. It's where we do our monthly broadcasts with Liverpool High School, with the Warriors, and I just love being there. I love being there. I love being in the environment. We're going to be there tonight, and so come out and see us. We're going to have the Liverpool Warriors boys lacrosse team back with me. The boys lacrosse team led by head coach Mike Felice. The student athletes and head coach will be with me tonight, June 4th at 6 p.m. That's tonight, June 4th at 6 p.m. Come out and see us at Avicolli's. as we have the opportunity to speak with the Liverpool boys lacrosse team who won sectionals and then just won their regional game. And now they have an opportunity to go to the state semifinal game. And if they win the state semifinal game, they will be playing for a New York State title. And we get to speak with them amidst all of this. So come out to Avicolli's tonight, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. Get some awesome pizza, wings, and more, and hang out with the Liverpool Warriors boys lacrosse team and send them off in a special, positive, and wonderful way as they get ready to head to SUNY Cortland. So we look forward to seeing you out there on site, on location at Avicolli's tonight. With that being said, the ingredients to success topic for today is break it to make it. Break it to make it. What do I mean, right? Well, sometimes you got to break it in order to make it, right? You know, you hear people say God broke the mold when he made you, right? So breaking something doesn't necessarily mean something bad. Breaking the habit in order to make a better life for yourself. Breaking that negativity, breaking that mindset, right? You know, there's a reality that I believe in, and that reality is you get the energy that you give. Now, some people might think, hey, Dan, I put out good energy and I still got back, bad energy. So, what do you mean by all this? I try to put good out in the world and I don't always get good back. Well, it also has to do with the people that you're dealing with. It does. It has to do with the people that you're dealing with. And sometimes, you can only control one thing in your life, and that's you. It's your attitude, it's your actions, it's your words, it's you. That's what you can control. You can control you. You can't control the weather, you can't control the traffic, you can't control somebody else's feelings, somebody else's thoughts, somebody else's actions. You can only control yourself. And thinking negatively has never solved a problem. It's actually probably created more problems. Stress has led to people dying, and it's led to people being sick. If you have cancer, stress doesn't make it better. If you have a cold, stress doesn't make it better. If you feel completely healthy, stress doesn't make it better. And worrying has never solved a problem. Fear has never solved a problem. Doubt has never solved a problem. So you have to break the habits to make the person you're going to become. And the energy you put out there is the energy that you get. There is a reality to that. I didn't think there was a reality to that, but I saw Steve Harvey talking about it yesterday, and I thought about it, and I thought, when I've talked about dating isn't fun because, I've met so many people that, I met so many women that have been so negative and they've been so hurtful and they've been so selfish and they've been so mean, and I'm not that type of guy, and why can't I meet the right person? But I kept putting out that energy that that's who they are, and that's what I got. And in the thing that he put out there yesterday, he said, if you think like all men are bad or all women are bad, you're going to meet every last one of them. If that's what you say. If that's what you believe, because that's the energy you're putting out there. So when you change your frequency, when you change your radio signal, which makes a lot of sense to a broadcaster, when you change your signal, different things come to you. Think about it. If I came on the show and I talked about negative all the time, right? People would be like, oh man, that guy's negative. And people would come to the show that sought negativity, right? They would say, wow, that's a negative show. It's a show that's controversial and constantly negative and constantly, just being down in the dumps. And I'm down in the dumps, so I'm going to go there. Positive people are going to be pushed away from my show if I was negative. In the same respect, people said to me years ago, they're like, you're one of the positive voices in Syracuse. You're one of the people that's always positive. You always try to find the good. That's why when I had a moment with... Not a moment, but I was just kind of like looking at the state of the Syracuse football program in recent history, and people are like, wow, you're the positive voice. You're the positive guy. If you don't think that this is working, like that speaks to us, and that kind of makes us feel like they're really, that something is bad going on here. If you're not behind it, because you're always behind it. You always try to find a way to find the positive. So I did get that reaction from people. They're like, if you don't feel good about it, you're one of the people that's always positive. So if you don't feel good about it, then that kind of scares us into thinking it really is bad. And because when people know you as a positive voice, they gravitate toward that, right? They gravitate toward positivity. So when you think saying something over and over again to yourself in private or to yourself out loud or to other people, when you think that that's not attracting people, me as a broadcaster proves that the signal that you give affects who you get. If I was a negative person, I would attract negative people. Now, that doesn't mean that negative people don't try to come this way, but they're deterred, right? I tell people all the time, if you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, I welcome everybody to my show the same. I believe in a God that does not discriminate and does not cast his children out. And so, how can I do that if the God I believe in doesn't do that? And the God I answer to doesn't do that. So for me, I don't push people out, even if we have differences of opinions. I think they push themselves out. But there are people that could say, well, Dan believes in God and I don't believe in God, so I'm not going to listen to a show because they don't like that signal. There's this saying of when people are like, if I'm trying to be a good person and I'm treating people well and, I'm going out there and I'm doing good in the world, why are people turned off by that? And there's a saying that says, sometimes your spirit irritates people's demons. Sometimes that positive spirit that you have inside of you irritates the demons inside of other people. And that's why they don't want to be around you, because your positive spirit, your goodness, is irritating the demon that they've allowed to live in them. And I pray that nobody allows a demon to live in them, because that's a terrible life. And so you are the energy. The energy that you put out there is the energy that you get. If I'm a negative broadcaster, I will attract negative people. If I am a positive broadcaster, I will attract positive people. Now, will I attract some negative people who want me to be negative, who, want to kind of break down my spirit? Yeah, that happens. That's something that happens. Unfortunately, that's part of life, right? It's not that you attract the negativity, but it's that the negativity sometimes wants to kind of rear its head and show itself, and that's just the way that things are sometimes. But the reality of it all is the energy that you believe in, that you push, that becomes your signal. People call it the law of attraction. People call it whatever they want to call it, the ripple, the aura, but it's the energy that you put out there. If you believe that you're good enough and you approach life with that, think about it. If you applied to be on a movie set and you thought, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not funny enough, they're not going to like me, you're going to walk around, even if you get onto the movie set, you're going to walk around on that movie set with that negative mindset. And if you have that negative mindset, people are going to pick up on that, because you're going to look downtrodden, you're going to be staring at the ground, you're going to be depressed, you're going to be sad, and people are going to pick up on that energy. And when they pick up on that energy, they're going to go, wow, that person's kind of down in the dumps. I don't want to be around them. Think about the cafeteria approach. If you were in a cafeteria and you were new to the school and you were holding a tray and you were looking around the room of who to sit with, are you going to sit with a bunch of people depressed and crying? No. Are you going to sit with the people staring at the wall? No. Are you going to sit with the people that are like punching themselves in the head and like, no. Are you going to sit with the people that are negative talking themselves and just telling themselves how horrible they are? No. You're going to sit with the people that are smiling, that look happy, that look approachable, that look welcoming, that, look like they're a safe place to land. Everybody wants a safe place to land. And they're in the law of attraction. There is the belief that instead of looking for the person that has all the qualities you want, instead of doing that, you exhibit all the qualities that you want. You show all the qualities that you want, and you attract that person to you. Instead of going, this is everything I want in a person, how about you be all of those things? Just be all of those things. They say someone who chases butterflies will never catch one. right? Or the butterfly fly, even if you catch it, you'll catch it reluctantly because it's trying to get away. That a person who is chasing butterflies will continue to chase them, but that a person who builds a garden that is a beautiful garden will attract the butterfly to you. If you work up on yourself, if you become a positive person, if you put out a positive, good radio signal, you will attract the right people into your life. You know, ask your friends why they're friends with you, right? Ask your parents why they want to spend time with you. Ask, you know, why does your dog, you know, want to be with you? On your worst day, when you're crying, when you're struggling, when you don't feel great, why does your dog lay at your side the same way that they lay at your side when you're having a great day? You know, go to those that see the value in you and ask them why. What do you see in me? Why are you so good to me? Why do you see what you see? And it's an everyday quest to break your habits, but you have to break it to make it. You can't become a better version of yourself by being a worse version of yourself. You cannot become a trustworthy person by not doing things that would help people to trust you. You cannot find love when you don't think you're going to find it. I mean, that's just life. That's reality. And in order for us to move forward in life, we have to be willing to take those tough pieces and we have to be willing to go after the things that we want in our lives. It is not easy to move forward. It is not easy to be positive when negative things are happening. It's not easy to constantly do that. But every single day, I wake up in the morning and I thank God for my life. And sometimes I need to do it sooner, and I will. I need to do it first. But I thank God for my life. I thank God for letting me be alive. After I say thank you, if I spend any amount of time worrying or fearful or doubting, that does nobody any good. Right? If somebody thinks they might have cancer and they go for testing, they don't call the person who's going to sit with them and go, you might have cancer. You might die. This might be horrible. This might be the last time we get to talk to each other. This might be a really bad thing. They go with the person who holds their hand. Sometimes the person that doesn't say a word, but they go with the person that they trust. They go with the person that is going to be there no matter what. They go with the person that holds out that hope, that holds out that positivity, that no matter what happens, we're going to beat it. We're going to get through it. We're going to do this. Would you rather fight in a battle with somebody who says the odds are against us, we're going to lose? Or would you rather fight in a battle with somebody who says, I got your back, you got my back, we're going to do everything we can, we're going to win this thing? Even on your deathbed, I would rather have somebody holding my hand going, you're going to beat this, you're going to do this, you got this. Instead of somebody looking at me going, you're dying, you're losing the battle, you're not going to win. It's getting the best of you. Nobody wants that. So put out the positive radio signal and watch what comes back to you. From the Heritage Hill Studios, this is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I want to thank you for tuning in here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, worldwide live. Once the show goes live, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. A big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, Heritage Hill, Brewhouse Heritage Hill North, our exclusive studio partners, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicolli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Mother's Cupboard, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins, Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats, and the Binghamton University Bearcats. You could find out more information on Lemoyne by going to LeMoyneDolphins.com, Bryan and Stratton by going to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and the Bearcats by going to BUBearcats.com. And you can get all of our coverage of each of these wonderful institutions by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you can find our Lemoyne playlist, our Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats playlist, and our Binghamton playlist all there. You can also find each of these wonderful institutions on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning into today's show. Thanks to Dave Pasiak. Thanks to Eric Holt. Hoping the best for Dave and everything he's working on, and Eric Holt in his Olympic trials and him becoming an Olympian for the 2024 Olympics. I would love to see that happening, and I have faith that it will. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Have a beautiful day. God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll see you tonight at Avicolli's with Liverpool Warriors boys lacrosse as they continue their quest for a New York State title this season. And that'll be at 6 p.m. tonight, June 4th, on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York at Avicolli's, who also brought you the ingredients to success today and every Tuesday. Have a wonderful day. God bless.